Well, let's see if we have enough little baby pickles to make a little jar of pickles. I'm just going to pick them these at this size. If I have enough of them in here. And I'm just going to cold pack it in the refrigerator. I could have sworn I just saw one here. I was out here the other night and I decided to cut a cucumber up and put it in a salad. And I didn't have a big one, but I thought, gosh, the little ones are so crunchy. Maybe I should try that so I can make some pickles. Oops. So we'll see what happens. I might only have a few pickles, but we'll give it a try. I do have another cucumber vine over here. Let's see what's going on over in this one. Oh, that's a big one. Well, we're getting a few. Let's see. Oh, there's one. And maybe this will even make them grow more. Because usually when you start picking your vegetables, that promotes more vegetables to grow. At least that's what I found. So we might have enough for a nice little jar of pickles. They seem to be climbing right in with the tomatoes. And all this green, it's so hard to see a cucumber. Okay. Looks like I have some string beans that finally did come up, probably from last year's, and my peas are doing good. I just grab those as I walk around. They're so delicious, just fresh off the vine. All right. I think I got everything that was out here. And seems like I have enough. I don't know what these are. It's those little red things. Oh man, are they disturbing. These bugs. Oh God. I have to knock those off. All right, time to end it here. But this stuff, these bugs will grow big and they just draw all the liquid right out of this vine and kill the cucumber. Time to kill some bugs. Since I'm making dill pickles, I need some dill. So here's a nice little fresh one. And then some ones down here. It smells so good. I have strawberries growing right next to the dill. Okay. These aren't seeds yet. Once they grow into seeds, or yeah, they'll grow, and then I'll take them off of here and dry them, and then have the seeds and put those in a container and have dill seeds. some fresh little dill there. So yeah, that's smelling real good. All right, into the house with the dill and the cucumbers, and on to make a liquid up and put it in a quart container. Okay, I am making some pickles, and I went and I picked pickles from as small as this, or cucumbers I should say, to as big as this. That's everything that's growing in my yard. And I'm gonna make these dill pickles. And so I've cut a bunch of dill fresh out of my garden. I've put it in some water here to clean it, and I'm stuffing it in the jar. Now, one person I just watched said don't put the dill in until after the jar has cooled down, that it would, what would it make the dill a little bit wilty or whatever. I don't care about that. So I've cleaned my cucumbers and my dill, and I'm just shoving everything in here. This jar is a clean jar. I'm not sure how many of these are going to fit in here. And I'm also going to add one more thing. And what I'm trying for here is a crunchy pickle. And I had a salad the other night, and I cut these cucumbers up, and they were so crunchy. I'm like, well, why don't I just try making pickles out of the small cucumbers? Okay. I also have one pepper, and I'm going to throw this pepper in there as well. So the recipe calls for 1.5 cups of vinegar. And what you're going to do, and I'm actually using 2 videos that I watched on YouTube. And I'm going to use the ingredients for the second one. It doesn't call for any water, and the other first recipe I looked at actually had water. So for one jar, I'm just going to put 1.5 cups of white vinegar in my pot here. So that's 1.5 cups. I actually might add more vinegar since I'm doing one jar. I want to fill this jar up. So it's more like 2.5 cups. I'm also going to throw in some peppercorns. I'm just actually going to, I'm going to cook that in here. I'm also going to put in some salt. I'm not going to use garlic, and I'm not going to use the sugar. I'm just going to use the salt and the vinegar and the peppercorns. And actually, I put a little bit of this salt in there, but I'm also going to add a little bit of canning salt. And I'm just doing this, winging it, because that was about a teaspoon of salt. All right. So then I'm going to boil that. Now, she used some sugar in her recipe, and I can link the 2 YouTube videos I watched to combine the recipes. And I'm just going to bring that to a boil, and then that's going to go into this jar. I've got my lids in a hot water bath, so I've sterilized the lids. And then this is just going to go in the refrigerator. And they said in the second video I watched, after 1 day you can eat the pickles. Well, I usually leave it a couple of weeks just to have the dill work in there and the flavor. So we'll see. I wish I had more cucumbers, but that's everything I had. And you'll see when I was picking the cucumbers, we have these little black spotted lantern bugs that just showed up last year. I guess as we travel around the world more, our bugs are mixing and we're getting more different bugs than we ever had before, which these are terrible because they put some kind of like little needle thing into the vine, the cucumber vine, and draw out the liquid. I had them kill part of my pecan tree and various plants because they drain the liquid right out of there. All right, so I'm gonna stir this a little. And that salt's melting in there. The first recipe that I watched, they actually used, I think they did about 5 or 6 quarts of cucumbers, and they did 3 cups of water and 2 cups of white vinegar. So literally, I could cut this vinegar with some water, and I might add some, maybe, if it doesn't fill up my jar. We'll see. I've got 2 cups, so I actually might throw in some water just to stretch it. I'm going to put a cup of water in. So I've got like 2.5 cups of white vinegar, 1 cup of water, about a tablespoon of peppercorns, and about a heavy teaspoon of salt. And I used regular Redmond salt, and then I used pickling salt. So I actually have 2 kinds of salt. So now I'm just going to pour that liquid, because the salt is dissolved. I don't see it loose in the pot anymore. And if I had added the sugar, which I might do at some point, because I also love bread and butter pickles, and to me that's what that would make if I added the sugar, but I just want dill pickles, so I left the sugar out. So this looks like it gave me a little bit more and what I needed, but that's okay. I've got a towel on it, and I'm just going to push this in and take out some of the liquid, because I wanted about a 1/2 inch from the top. And if I would have had more cucumbers, these wouldn't float to the top. Since I didn't, they are floating. All right, I'm going to use some of the hot water from my pan and clean all this that dripped over. And that guy just wants to come out of there. Really wants to not be in there. Probably because it's hollow inside that pepper, and it just keeps floating to the top. All right, so now I'm just going to put the lid on it. And I'm going to put this in the refrigerator. I'm going to let it sit out for about an hour, and then it's going to go in the refrigerator, and I'll try one tomorrow, but usually I think it would take about 4 to 6 weeks. But I'll let you know how crunchy it is. I think the further along that I'll let it sit in the refrigerator, the less crunchy it'll be, but we'll see. All right, peace. So I don't know why I didn't do this a long time ago, but these are the crunchiest pickles and taste good after just one day in the jar. So next time I do this, I'm using this jar, keeping it in the fridge, and hopefully if I can get enough cucumbers, maybe this year, I'll put those in this big jar. But right now, and I don't know, you can leave a comment below if you have those spotter and lantern bugs that get on the vine, but I do. So what I started to do was take my bottle of Clorox spray and just spray those bugs, the black and white spotted lantern bugs, to get them off my cucumbers. So I sprayed it yesterday in one spot, and I didn't see like a dead plant section where I sprayed it, so I'm hoping that's okay. But these are the best, crunchiest cucumbers I've ever made. So I'm gonna do those, heat up the water or the vinegar that I use in here, the brine, put the cucumbers in a sterilized jar and keep them in the fridge. I'm not going to make any in a water bath. Just the next time I'm going to up the size and hopefully have enough baby little cucumbers, because those little cucumbers are the crunchiest little cucumber to be a pickle ever. Thanks for watching. Peace.